Something inside you hesitated before you scrolled. That tiny pause wasn't random, it was quantum. In that fraction of a second, your future self reached back through time, whispering, "Stop. This is the moment." The algorithm didn't bring you here. Frequency did. You felt it, that subtle pull in your chest, that ripple of awareness that made you stay. This isn't just another video. It's an activation. Right now, your energy field is aligning with a new timeline, and this message is the signal. You didn't land here by chance, you were summoned, and what's about to unfold could alter everything you thought you knew about reality. So before you scroll away, ask yourself, what if this is the call I've been waiting for, the pause that wasn't an accident? Something inside you hesitated before you scrolled. That pause wasn't random. It was the ripple of a deeper intelligence breaking through the noise. For a split second, your thumb froze mid-air, your breath shifted, and your awareness cracked open. That is how the quantum field calls you, quietly, through interruptions that feel like coincidence but are actually coordination. You didn't find this moment found you. Somewhere beyond linear time, your future self sent a pulse, a frequency that matched the exact vibration you are holding right now. That pulse guided your attention here, to these words, to this energy. Every hesitation in your life is a signal disguised as delay. The universe doesn't shout, it nudges. It rearranges the probabilities of your path until something catches your focus. That is how consciousness navigates reality. When you stopped scrolling, you broke the loop of repetition that keeps most people asleep. You shifted from automation to awareness. In that instant, microscopic changes happened inside you. Your nervous system softened. Your perception widened, your field began to synchronize with a higher pattern. Science calls it the observer effect. What you look at changes because you looked. Your attention collapses potential into form. That means this moment was co-created by your awareness and the quantum field responding to it. You are not passively watching, you are shaping what unfolds next. Feel that responsibility, feel that power. Every time you notice the pause, you activate a doorway between timelines. One leads to more noise, distraction, and repetition. The other leads to awakening, alignment, and creation. Which one you walk through depends on how long you can stay present right now. Your future self already knows which one you chose. That's why it sent the signal. The hesitation was not a glitch. It was a handshake across dimensions. Story after story in human history has called this moment destiny, intuition, divine timing. But the language doesn't matter. The frequency does. That subtle tension you feel in your chest is the vibration of possibility knocking. Let it stay. Let it build. The ego will whisper to scroll, to move, to ignore, but you are wiser now. You've already proven that by staying. The result of this small act is not visible yet, but in the field the pattern has already changed. The wave collapsed the moment you noticed. That's how transformation begins, not with thunder, but with stillness. The lesson hidden inside this pause is simple. Awareness is the first act of creation. You cannot change what you cannot see. By witnessing your own impulse, you reclaim authorship over your timeline. So breathe. Let this awareness sink deeper than your thoughts. This is where the new frequency starts to weave itself into your cells, your emotions, your decisions. The call has already begun to echo through your system, and now that you've heard it, there is no going back to sleep. The pause was never an accident. It was the invitation. The only question that remains, the one that will carry you into part 2, is this: if your mind didn't choose to be here, who did? The science of quantum awareness. Before your conscious mind decided to stay, something deeper had already made the choice. Neuroscience calls it pre-conscious readiness potential. The famous experiment by Benjamin Libet proved that the brain shows electrical activity milliseconds before we decide. But what if that signal is more than biology? What if it's the whisper of the quantum field moving ahead of thought? When you paused, your awareness didn't come from habit, it came from coherence. The human body isn't a closed system, it's a transmitter and receiver of frequency. Every cell vibrates, every emotion emits a field, and consciousness is the observer that tunes the signal. The moment you felt that gentle tug to stop your field matched a message already in motion. The universe communicates through resonance, not language. That means when your energy aligns with a particular vibration, an idea, a moment, a possibility, you experience it as intuition, coincidence, or déjà vu. But nothing is random. In the quantum realm, observation changes probability. When you looked at this video, your attention interacted with the wave of potential outcomes. That interaction collapsed a new version of reality into focus. Science calls it the observer effect. Mystics call it manifestation. They are describing the same thing, consciousness, as the architect of experience. Imagine trillions of particles waiting in a sea of potential, all vibrating at different frequencies. The instant you observe one, it behaves differently because you observed it. Now imagine that happening not in a lab, but in your life. Every choice, every glance, every thought becomes a tuning fork shaping the next frame of your existence. That's why awareness is sacred. It directs energy, and energy always obeys focus. The story behind your hesitation isn't that you were bored or curious, it's that your field detected alignment. Your future self, existing in a parallel probability, emitted a signal that your current vibration could finally decode. That's why it felt like an invisible magnet pulling you closer. You weren't reacting, you were remembering. Your biology is built for this communication. The heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in the body, thousands of times stronger than the brain. When emotion and thought synchronize, they create coherence, and coherence opens channels of information beyond logic. That flutter you felt wasn't anxiety, it was data. The field recognized readiness, and readiness always calls opportunity. The result of that synchronization is happening now. Perception expands, intuition heightens, awareness sharpens. You may notice goosebumps, warmth in the chest, or a slow, steady rhythm in your breath. These are biological confirmations that your energy is tuning. You are literally shifting frequency. Lesson awareness is not passive attention. It's active participation in creation. Each time you observe with presence, you send an instruction to the field. Render this reality. That is quantum awareness, the union of science and spirit, thought and field, matter and meaning. So as you breathe into this moment, understand that your pause was physics in motion, consciousness meeting probability. You are not learning about quantum reality, you are demonstrating it. Which brings us to the next question. One that only you can answer if your awareness can bend time and energy. What message do you think your future self is trying to send you right now? The call from your future self. Time does not move in a straight line. It folds, loops, and overlaps like waves on a vast ocean. What you call the future is not ahead of you, it's vibrating alongside you, waiting for alignment. Every possibility of who you could become already exists as a frequency in the quantum field. When you felt that sudden stillness before you scrolled, it wasn't chance. It was communication. Your future self, an evolved version of you living in a higher vibration, sent a signal through the web of energy that connects all timelines. The pulse of that reality touched your awareness and whispered, "Now." You felt it not as a voice, but as a sensation, a pull in the chest, a quiet knowing that this moment meant something. In that instant, you were not remembering the past, you were responding to a future calling you home. Story after story of synchronicity begins this way. A person turns down a street they've never walked and meets the exact teacher they needed. Another opens a book randomly and reads the line that changes everything. These are not coincidences. They are intersections points where the signal from your future self becomes strong enough to override routine. The quantum field doesn't speak in words, it speaks in resonance. You recognize it by feeling. When your heart and mind reach coherence, your perception expands and you begin to notice patterns, numbers, repeating songs appearing at the right moment, strangers saying phrases that echo your inner thoughts. These are breadcrumbs guiding signals, markers of alignment. The future self uses them because your logical mind cannot ignore what it calls coincidence. But deep inside you know it's more. It's communication through energy. The call never comes from outside. It emerges from the version of you that already lives the life you're seeking, the self who has learned, healed, and expanded beyond fear. It sends signals back through the field, hoping you will notice, hoping you will pause long enough to tune in. That's what you did when you stopped scrolling. You answered. And the moment you did, the signal strengthened, the bridge began to form, and information started flowing both ways. Right now, the field is recalibrating, reorganizing probabilities to bring that future closer. You may not see the evidence yet, but it's unfolding in invisible layers, people entering your orbit, ideas surfacing, emotions rising to be cleared. Your future self orchestrates all of it so that you can align faster. The result of recognizing the call is subtle yet powerful. Suddenly, what once felt uncertain begins to make sense. Intuition becomes louder. Doubt starts to dissolve. The frequency of your future timeline seeps into your thoughts and emotions, altering how you perceive possibility. Lesson: intuition is memory from the future. When you trust it, you collapse distance between who you are and who you're becoming. The call from your future self is not an external miracle, it's the internal acknowledgement that you are ready. And readiness changes everything. So listen carefully. Feel into that vibration that brought you here. Because in the next moment, resistance will rise, the mind will try to pull you back to safety, to predictability, to old timelines. The question is, will you recognize that pull for what it truly is? The test before transformation. The test of resistance. The moment you feel the urge to click away, to shrink back into the comfort of distraction, that's when the test begins. Resistance is not a flaw, it is the friction between two realities. One is the old you, predictable, safe, known. The other is the frequency of your expansion, unfamiliar, alive, vibrating with possibility. When these timelines collide, the body reacts. The mind calls it fear, the ego labels it danger, but what you're really feeling is energy recalibrating. It's the vibration of growth pressing against the edges of who you've been. This is the moment when most people retreat. They confuse discomfort with a warning, when in truth, it's a signal of alignment. Every quantum leap requires resistance because energy needs contrast to transform. Think of a rocket breaking through gravity. It shakes, burns, and trembles before it ascends. You are that rocket. The pull to escape this message is your old timeline clinging to stability. It says nothing needs to change. Stay here where it's predictable. But predictability is the cage of evolution. The unknown, though uncertain, is fertile ground. It's where potential rearranges itself into form. Your future self sent the call not because you're broken, but because you're ready to outgrow safety. The paradox is that the more aligned you become, the louder the ego screams. It senses its own dissolution. That voice that whispers, scroll, skip, maybe later, that's not laziness. It's survival programming. The ego's job is to keep you alive, not awakened. It measures safety by repetition, not expansion, but the soul measures life by depth, not comfort. Right now, those two forces are meeting inside you. Feel the tension in your chest, the slight unease in your stomach, the restlessness in your thoughts. That's the crossroads. That's the energetic battle between past and possibility. You can't destroy the old self. You must integrate it. Thank it for protecting you. Acknowledge its purpose. Then gently remind it that growth is not danger, it's evolution. When you choose to stay present through resistance, something incredible happens. The vibration of fear begins to shift. What felt heavy starts to lighten. Your nervous system learns a new pattern, one that associates expansion with safety. That is how you reprogram your field. Each breath of awareness sends a message to your body: it's safe to change. And with every repetition, the bridge to your future self strengthens. The result is not dramatic fireworks, but subtle recalibration. You begin to notice that the things that once triggered anxiety now invite curiosity. The unknown no longer feels like darkness, but like a doorway. This is how timelines shift from contraction to expansion, from avoidance to allowance. Lesson resistance is the proof that transformation is happening. Without it, nothing moves. Every time you stay through the discomfort, you anchor your new frequency deeper into form. That's the real test, not to fight the fear, but to remain aware while it dissolves. Awareness burns through illusion like light through fog. So the next time the impulse to skip arises, pause, breathe, feel the friction. Then ask yourself this question, the one that opens the next stage of your evolution. If fear is just energy, what would happen if you stopped resisting it and started listening to what it's trying to teach you? The quantum shift of attention. Everything in your life follows your focus. Where awareness goes, energy flows, and reality rearranges itself to match your vibration. Most people think the world around them is fixed, but in truth, it's fluid, constantly reshaping itself in response to the frequency of your observation. This isn't poetic language. It's physics. The double-slit experiment proved that particles behave differently when observed. Matter at its core responds to consciousness. What you look at changes because you looked. Now imagine the scale of that truth applied to your entire life. Every thought, emotion, and belief acts as an observation, collapsing potential into form. You're not a spectator of reality. You're the projector. Your attention is the lens through which existence takes shape. When your focus is scattered, when fear, doubt, and distraction dominate the field around you, mirrors that chaos, synchronicities vanish, clarity fades, opportunities slip through unseen. But the moment you bring deliberate awareness to what you desire, the field reorganizes itself instantly. Coherence replaces noise. The invisible becomes visible. The random becomes rhythmic. That is the quantum shift of attention. It's not about controlling reality, it's about tuning it. Just like a radio, the field broadcasts countless frequencies at once. You can't hear them all, but the one you're attuned to becomes your experience. Right now, by staying present, you've already adjusted your dial. You're tuning into a higher station, the one where your future self lives, thinks, and creates. And as you align, the external world begins to echo that frequency. You'll notice it in subtle ways: conversations that resonate, numbers that repeat, doors that open with ease. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmations that your awareness is steering the ship. Story after story of transformation begins this way, with a shift in focus so simple it almost seems insignificant. A person chooses gratitude instead of worry, and their energy field expands. Another chooses to believe in possibility, and their circumstances bend to meet that belief. That's how powerful attention is. It's the lever that moves universes. The result of mastering this is profound inner peace. You no longer chase outcomes, you attract them through resonance. You no longer fight for control, you flow with coherence. The mind that once scattered energy now becomes a laser, shaping timelines through intention. Lesson: attention is creation in motion. It's the act of sculpting reality with awareness. The question is not whether you're manifesting, it's what you're manifesting unconsciously by where your focus lingers. Every complaint, every fear, every act of gratitude sends a command to the field. It doesn't judge, it simply responds. That's why discipline of awareness is the highest form of freedom. As you breathe now, notice where your attention rests. Is it on possibility or limitation, expansion or resistance? The energy of your next moment depends entirely on that choice. And as your future self watches through the veil of timelines, it's smiling because it knows you're beginning to remember how reality truly works. So before we move forward, let this question anchor in your mind, the one that will carry you into the next phase of your awakening. If attention is the architect of existence, what would happen if you devoted every thought, every emotion, every heartbeat to the frequency of who you want to become? Aligning with the signal. Alignment is not something you chase. It's something you remember. The universe has been speaking to you in whispers through moments that felt random but were anything but. Every coincidence, every repetition, every intuitive nudge has been part of a pattern, a signal woven through the static of daily life. You've glimpsed it before in those flashes of clarity that feel like déjà vu or gentle warmth expanding through your chest. That's resonance, the language of the quantum field. When your internal frequency matches the vibration of your future timeline, synchronicity becomes your native tongue. Doors open without effort, conversations align perfectly. Ideas land in your mind as if someone dropped them from another dimension. This is not fantasy, it's physics meeting awareness. The quantum field is coherence. When your mind, heart, and energy move in the same direction, the field amplifies your signal and reflects it back as experience. That's why forcing outcomes never works. Resistance scrambles your broadcast. But surrender, the kind that comes from deep trust, creates harmony. Imagine the field as an ocean and your consciousness as a current. When you push, you create turbulence. When you align, you flow effortlessly toward your destination. Most people miss this because they mistake control for power. True power is alignment, the state of being so synchronized with your intention that the universe has no choice but to respond. You felt it before, those days when everything just clicks when you think of someone and they call. When solutions appear the moment you stop overanalyzing. Those are not coincidences, they're proof that you're in resonance with the signal of your higher self. To align consciously, start with presence. Breathe slower than usual. Let your awareness settle in your heart, not your mind. Feel your energy extend beyond your body like a gentle magnetic field expanding in all directions. Each breath tunes the signal a little clearer, like adjusting a radio until the static fades. This is how you communicate with the quantum field, through emotion, through vibration, through coherence. The result of alignment isn't instant fireworks, it's peace. It's the quiet certainty that what's meant for you is already moving toward you. That peace itself becomes the magnet. Lesson: you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. When your energy becomes the frequency of clarity, love, and purpose, reality can only mirror it. That's why the greatest work you'll ever do isn't changing the outer world, it's attuning your inner one. So pause here. Feel your heartbeat syncing with the rhythm of something larger. The same pulse that exists in galaxies moves within you right now. You are not separate from the field, you are the field experiencing itself. The signal has always been there, waiting for you to notice. Now that you've aligned with it, your future self is closer than ever. And in the stillness between this breath and the next, a new question begins to rise, one that will carry you into your final activation if you are already in resonance with your future timeline. What declaration will you make to anchor it fully into your reality? The quantum declaration. This is the moment your future self has been guiding you toward, since the first spark of awareness flickered inside you. Everything, the hesitation, the resistance, the alignment, has been leading to this convergence point where timelines fold and consciousness chooses its trajectory. Right now, the quantum field is listening, waiting for instruction. Not from your words, but from your vibration. Feel the energy around you, the subtle hum in your palms, the slow rhythm in your breath, the tingling across your chest. That's your field responding. The universe doesn't speak English. It speaks frequency. Every thought you hold, every emotion you embody is a command sent into the infinite. This is why the final step isn't about seeking or waiting, it's about declaring. A declaration is not a wish, it's a recognition. It's the moment you stop asking for the shift and begin living as if it's already done. Your future self isn't a distant vision, it's a vibration accessible now, and you activate it by becoming coherent with it. So close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in the energy of possibility. Let your exhale release every fragment of doubt, fear, and limitation that belonged to the old timeline. Feel the density leaving your system like static clearing from a signal. Now silently or aloud, speak this declaration: I am aligned with my highest reality. I am not waiting for change. I am the change. My energy is my authority. My presence shapes worlds. Feel the resonance of those words travel through your nervous system, anchoring into every cell. The field receives them instantly because it's not hearing sound, it's reading vibration. In that instant, the timelines rearrange. Opportunities begin to move, ideas magnetize people who carry matching frequencies. Start orbiting into your path. The old reality begins to lose gravity because it no longer has your attention to sustain it. You are the observer collapsing the new world into form. This is what it means to live activated, not to chase, not to grasp, but to embody. When you stand in this frequency, doubt becomes data, fear becomes fuel, and uncertainty becomes the purest proof that you're expanding. You realize that manifestation is not magic, it's mathematics of energy responding to belief. The moment you declare coherence, the equation balances. You and your reality become one. The result is subtle but profound. You will feel lighter, clearer, as if invisible static has lifted. Synchronicities multiply. You'll sense time bending things, arriving faster, ideas unfolding with effortless precision. This is not luck, it's alignment in action. Tuned. Lesson: commitment is the seal of the new timeline. When you fully commit to the vibration of your future self, the field stops testing and starts supporting. It organizes itself around your certainty. There is no turning back because the version of you reading these words has already evolved beyond hesitation. The bridge is built, the signal is locked, the reality is live. From this moment forward, your task is simple. Stay aware, stay aligned, stay in coherence. Because alignment is not a one-time event. It's a daily frequency you choose to maintain. Now take one more slow breath. Feel the power of your own awareness ripple through the quantum field. You've answered the call from your future self. The connection is complete. What happens next will not be random. It will be a reflection of the frequency you've anchored here and now. And before you go, answer this one final invitation, not for me, but for your evolution. What did you feel when you paused? Share it below. Every story strengthens the field for others to awaken. Every word becomes another signal of light in the network of consciousness we're weaving together. Your activation has begun.